This is GWEN Talks, where intimate conversations reveal, heal, inspire, and entertain. And now, here's your host, Tess Cacciatore.
Welcome to GWEN Talks, where we are going to have the most exciting episode today. As you may know, I started off this summer with doing a 4-part summer special series because we're all in lockdown. We did the father figures, we did the youth speak out, we did the freedom from mental slavery, and we did the civic duty to civic passion. And today I could not go any further without doing something to honor the most amazing women in my life. I call this episode S.A.G.E because it's called Sassy Ageless Gals Extraordinaire. When you meet these ladies, you see them already on the screen. It's just hold on, put your seatbelts on because it's going to be a ride. The pre-show banter was delicious, and I hope we keep going in that direction. So each woman could have their own 1-hour episode. They can even have their own documentary series. So unfortunately, we just have an hour for this time, but I just want to open up the floor to be able to talk about the importance of mothers. I've adopted each one of these mothers. I have Mama G, I have Mama C, and I have Mama Pink. And unfortunately today, due to technology difficulties, Mama Sue Smart and Mama Bonnet Bishop could not attend. But I'm going to try to get them on a one-on-one and add it to this episode because they have amazing things to share as well. I'll still read their bios because I want them to be represented in this episode. So what was really interesting is about a month and a half ago, I decided I wanted to do this episode. And I didn't put the coalition together until yesterday, August 20th, which happens to be the passing of my mom's anniversary. She passed 17 years ago. So I spent the day mainly in silence and meditation for the first time in many years. A lot of times when our family members that are dear to us die, I don't know about you, but it takes a lot of years to kind of adjust to it. And so after 17 years, I figured maybe I should do a lot of honoring. And I did a lot of reflection and a lot of honoring with my mother yesterday. And then today, when I woke up, I said, what a beautiful honor to be able to be on this show with these beautiful women. So I want to find out what they're experiencing in the pandemic. I want to find out what events in history affected them most, and also what advice they have to pass on the torch to all of us women that are sitting at their heels of their glorious world. So I'm going to introduce them. And as I said, the brief introductions is only a tad bit of what they have accomplished in their life. First off, we have Gloria Vando. She's an award-winning poet, author, publisher, activist, and feminist. She's a political activist. When she was in her younger years and Lorga, her daughter, was in a baby carriage, they were marching through the streets, and I hear rumor that she might have even gotten nearly arrested. She's been a part of women's rights. She started her own women's magazine focusing on women back in the 70s called Helicon 9. And I've seen that vast volume of Helicon 9 because I helped her pack her boxes in one of her moves. And it is the most amazing archival of women history. And she led the way in that. She was also nominated for a Grammy for Poetry on Record. And still today, Gloria is conducting poetry readings, taking dance classes, whether it's on Zoom or in person, writing, inspiring us all. Pandemic hasn't stopped her. She's actively Zooming around the world. I'm going to mention her first husband, Maurice Perez, who I had the extreme pleasure of filming, interviewing, and spending holidays and times with him. He was the assistant with the conductor, Leonard Bernstein, and then led the way through Kansas City Philharmonic, traveling Hong Kong, Czech Republic, Melbourne, Shanghai, London, and even for the White House for President Kennedy. He's traveled all over the world with he and his family. And I want to just put a little tag in that because it's an important aspect to the first question we're going to be answering, because it's about the different the different era of women and men, and how in the past some of the men have taken the front line and the women have had to step back, even though they were powerful in their own words. Speaking of that, our next guest, Carmel Rivello Maquire. She was the prior wife to her late husband, Frank Maquire, who I had the beautiful blessing to meet as well. He was the founding executive of Federal Express. He served as the senior executive positions on Kentucky Fried Chicken, ABC, and American Airlines. And Carmel traveled the world with Frank. So I want to talk to her and Gloria about being in the shadows of these amazing men, but they were so amazing in their own right. Carmel is a voiceover artist. She's a public speaker. She's an author. She has a new book called out The Bunny and the Mysterious Butterfly, which is a coloring book as well. And she's also an actress in our original TV series called My Sweet Life, which will be on GWEN Studios soon. Bonnie Bishop, founder of Friends of Africa. She has done so much to raise money for education, medical clinics, and I saw in person raising almost $3 million with the First Lady of Kenya and the First Lady's Luncheon in Phoenix. And that was to help help medical supplies for hospitals and clinics in Kenya. And Sue Smart, my dear Mama Sue, both of these ladies couldn't get on due to technology difficulties, but she was a duo of Del and Sue Smart. She was a country singer and still does. I call her on Zoom all the time, or on FaceTime, and I still get to sing with her, and she still performs in public outside of the pandemic, of course. They performed the Grand Ole Opry. She's a longtime fixture of Bakersfield music, which, believe it or not, I didn't know was like a second capital to country music, as is Nashville. I didn't know Bakersfield had such a huge array of people like Buck Owens and Red Simpson, which Sue performed with. She became a booking agent for Southern California clubs, discovering the likes of Leanne Rimes and Martina McBride, and she has not stopped singing. Last but not least, I met Pink through Sue, and Pink was actually on GWEN Talks a long time ago, and I've been on her show. Pink lady, actress, producer, author, motivational speaker, and founder of the movement, and I have my coffee cup to prove it, Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life. She produced a variety act for senior citizens, which Sue Smart performed, and I've seen those performances, and it's so extraordinary to see tap dancers and singers and acrobats that are all in their senior years. Very inspiring. She's also now still a host of a weekly TV show called It Ain't Over Till I Say It's Over, airing each Sunday night at 5 p.m. So I want to open up the question. So Pink, you were, as I said, a guest on my show. I've been a guest on yours, and I'm going to ask all the ladies the same question. What was the most formidable accomplishment you've had? And I'm asking for a reason, because sometimes it's really hard to talk about ourselves and celebrate our celebrations. So Pink, I figured you want to start on this one.
Well, first of all, hi everyone, I'm the Pink Lady. And at 88 years young, entering my 89th year, I'm having the best time of my life right now. Besides having 5 children, 6 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren, I said that the most formidable thing that I think that I've done was really 2 things. I wrote a book, and that got me right where I wanted to be out there. It's called Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life. And in the bottom of that book, on the cover, it says, "It ain't over till I or you say it's over." And that opened up a whole new world. I think I started that. I just lost my husband. I think I was 72. So I reinvented my whole life. I started in May of 2018 an intergenerational variety show. And that's seen, as you know, every Sunday evening on Channel 18 in the Los Angeles, Southern California area, and also in Orange County on Channel 118. To 20 million viewers, showing them guests that are of an age, some of them, because it is intergenerational. And I think living my life the way it is, I think that's what I would say is formidable. I say 88 years young, I feel I'm sexy, scintillating, and sensual. And by the way, I'm also very humble and modest.
And I have to add sassy to those S words.
Oh yeah, very sassy.
Very sassy. That's why I love all 3 of you on there. So Gloria and Carmel, whoever wants to go first, I want to hear about your formidable accomplishment in life.
Go, Glow.
Carmel, please. After you.
I'm the proud mother of 4 daughters, the oldest of which will be 63 tomorrow, and she's going to celebrate at my house. We're going to swim in the pool together, and I'm going to race them and beat them. I have 4 grandchildren, and I'm so awed, Pink, by your great-grandchildren. What a stunning thing. I'm so awed also by your show. I'm so impressed by you. Life has been wonderful. I grew up in violence, and I went on to become a cancer conqueror after 20 years with cell lymphoma and also breast cancer before that. And my last PET scan was all clear. I teach swimming every day to 2 women here in Ojai. So I swim with them every day. And I have a wonderful partner, former Coast Guard and Marine, very fit, and big piece of land. So I grow my tomatoes and my lettuce and my squash and my zucchini and blah, 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 blah. I'm certainly not accomplished by either of you two, so I'm awed, and I'm leaving right now. And the joy I have in life comes from the fact that when you overcome violence, and you overcome a lot of the junk that we have all overcome, and you're still at the age we're at, I'm just turned 84, life is exciting, and people give up too early. This pandemic has crushed people, but in Japanese we say nabahachi. It's not going to happen with me. It's not going to happen with any of us. The idea and the joy of living each day as a gift has been my philosophy, because when people say, how are you? I said, above ground, baby, above ground. So nothing is going to stop me. I don't know how long I will have on this earth, but me and my bathing suit and my students and my partner, and I cook. I love cooking. I had a cooking show, but it never went anywhere, called Bella Cucina. And my second book is called Memories, Motherhood, and Marinara. What you stir into your life sauce makes all the difference.
I've had her sauce.
But I'm not nowhere near you two, but boy, am I honored to be on the same screen with the two.
I have to stop you right now, Carmel, because I have to stop right now because anyone who's gone through, abuse and things like that, that's a huge accomplishment. And there's so many women of our network and men of our network that'll be watching this series and be inspired by you. So that is the most formidable accomplishment. And having 4 children and your grandchildren, and I've had your San Marzano tomatoes and had your sauce, and you're a fabulous cook. So
I also forgot one thing that was really great, and that is I went back to university after 48 years. I had a full scholarship to college when I was younger in New York, St. Joseph's College for Women. But my home life was so rough that I left and married a violent alcoholic. Hello. And so 48 years later, my late husband encouraged me, and I went back to Cal Lutheran University, and I did a triple major, was Dean's List and valedictorian. As I stood on the stage being a valedictorian, something in the back of me said, maybe you are smart. Maybe you do have a brain. It was an enlightened moment, believe me. And anyone can have those enlightened moments, but I'm enlightened being here with you, beautiful ladies. Thank you.
And we're enlightened to have you here. And I saw one of the comments from one of our audience members, hearing all the New York accents. And we had that conversation before the show began. They're all from the East Coast. Pink is from Boston. So good ears on that accent thing going on. And Gloria, I know you so well. You're my Mama G, and I know it's really hard to talk about yourself. But I just want to toot your horn because you have accomplished so much. I mean, the bio that I laid out there. So if you want to approach that question in a different way, whatever makes you feel comfortable. I know that you're really just humbled, but you are a shining star in all of our lives. And so before I cry, just answer the damn question.
Well, there's so much that I'm happy about. I do have 3 children who I adore, and two grandchildren, one 23 and one a year and 3 months.
Little Athena.
Little Athena and big Nikki, who calls herself Lumi now. Lumi. Anyway, Lorca and Annika are listening, and thank you for coming. But as far as accomplishments, well, it's hard for me because on a personal level, I'm a poet, and that's my real love. And on another level, I'm a publisher, and another love because I love publishing the works of women, artists, musicians, composers, dancers, actresses, everything. I mean, whatever they did. And it went from the 1600s up to the present. But it was a journal of women's arts and letters called Helicon 9. And it started out as a magazine. And it was named, by the way, it was named after the 9 muses of Helicon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It was named after the 9 muses of Helicon, and they would inspire men by pouring honey into their mouths. And from their mouths would sweet words sing, Anyway, I was living at a time where women weren't being honored for anything. The women's movement was here, but it was mostly involved with politics and social things and economic things. And the arts were not really being discussed So the magazine, as a poet and as a writer, I thought, well, let's do something. So I didn't do it alone. It was my idea, but I had a wonderful group of women and men also helping. And we got it off the ground. And then we did that for 10 years. And then, in fact, I have the book right here. This is our 10 years of Helicon 9. And from Artemisia Gentileschi to Yoko Ono. And then we did books and published books, about 50 books of writers. It was poetry, fiction, and creative nonfiction, and anthologies. And the last one I did was about Venice, the Venice Beach murals. So that was recent. That was a couple of years ago. Anyway, that's what.
And you're still part of the Venice poetry community.
I'm on the board of the Venice Arts Council and Beyond Baroque, which are both in Venice, and love them. I mean, they're wonderful institutions.
I've had the extreme pleasure of being able to see Gloria perform many of her poems. Her daughters are very creative, and her son too, Paul, musician. They're just like the whole family. For gosh sakes, you need to be in a museum, all of you, archived in the museum. Yes, and that Helicon 9. That is such a stunning publication. From the artwork to the storylines. The quality of it is so extraordinary.
On record that was included in every issue. So you could listen to the music of Elizabeth Jacquet de la Guerre, who nobody ever heard of. And there she was, harpsichord music. And she could have been King Louis XIV, I think it was. She could have been the what do they call it? Big musician for the country, but she was a woman, and so they didn't acknowledge her. Anyway. It is what it is.
Speaking of women not being acknowledged, I indicated earlier that Carmel was married to Frank Maguire, head of CEO, founding member of FedEx, for gosh sakes. Maurice Perez, oh my God, the conductor extraordinaire. Just to watch him with his fingers, just with no baton, conducting hundreds of people in orchestra. I sat there like with losing my breath over his work. But both of you ladies are so amazing and accomplished on your own. How did you feel being the wind beneath these two men's wings, and how did you deal with that? And Jackie, we're going to get to you because I know you have a very compelling story in that category as well, but a little bit more current. So Carmel, why don't you tell the story of traveling around the world with Frank, and then we'll go to Gloria.
Traveling first class is nice.
I did it.
get off the plane and the photographers are shooting, and in China they whisked us to the hotel and followed me as I was unpacking. In Brazil, they met us and gave us silver gifts. And at one point in Brazil, I loved to tango. And so the manager greeted us and I started tangoing with him. And my husband just looked, what are you doing? Stop it. He said, I like to tango. Give me a break. So I tangled down the main aisle, and the manager said, amazing. I didn't sleep with him or anything like that, but I did get nice gifts. So everywhere I went, I was second fiddle. I smiled. I got him dressed in the morning. I fixed his tie. And after he went on stage and got these enormous applause from 10,000 people, come back into the room. I said, oh, you did great, honey. Think I did good? Yeah. And I said to myself, where am I? Box, 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 box. Where am I? I didn't know where I was. I didn't know who I was. I would sit in the first row of every speech and laugh at the same jokes. Ha, 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 ha. Isn't he fabulous? He's so funny. But what was I? I was a zero. I was a cipher. I was like we used to say in New York, a Pitkin Avenue nudnik. There was nobody here inside this soul. It was all dressed up, finest clothes and everything, but it was zero. And the beauty of what happened after he died, not that he was beautiful when he died, but all of a sudden a light went on in my head and it said, wait a minute, maybe you have something to offer. Maybe there's something there inside of you that you didn't recognize while you were doing him. Do you know what I'm saying? I was doing him. Everywhere we went, get off the plane, the photographers were there, smile, hold on to his arm. But I was doing him. I wasn't doing anything but him. I was honoring him. I was taking care of him. When he became ill, it got serious. And I really and truly realized that I was a placeholder. You know, when men lay tile, they have what they call spacers. And they're these little square things called spacers when they lay tile. And those spacers hold the tiles from congealing. And that's what I was, a spacer. I was a tiled spacer. I was only there to provide the balance. And because I was a spacer, there was nothing inside of me except holding the space. And the one thing I remember very quickly, then I'll get off, is when we were in Buenos Aires with 10,000 people in the audience. And they gave him a standing ovation, which in speaking, as you know, is a standing O, is very important. And I stood next to him and women were coming up and kissing him and hugging him, and you're so wonderful. And I said to myself, what the hell am I doing here? I'm just taking up space. Because, oh, Mr. Maguire, you are so wonderful. I can't stand it. You're just so handsome. You're just so gorgeous. I just can't stand it. And it was a revelation to me that the only reason I was there is to hold on to his arm and clap. Big difference. He worked at the White House with the Kennedys. He was all over the globe. He was at ABC. And I was just a cipher, a spacer, but no more.
Wow. Absolutely no more. How did you deal with that? I mean, it must have been.
I did a lot of meditation, a lot of praying. I lost my faith in Catholicism when one of my daughters was molested by a priest, destroyed me. But I started to realize that inside each and every one of us is a spark. It's almost like a flint that has to be lit and snapped. Once that flint is lifted, once that flint is started, nothing can put that fire out. Going through it and trying to understand the past. What happened through those years that I was traveling? What happened to me, to my soul spirit, to my heart spirit? What happened? What happened was I got lost, fell down the hole, and climbing up from the hole by my fingers is what made me realize that I had more to do in life after his death. I had to do something that was not him. You know, you ride on the coat of somebody and you say to yourself, boy, I'm great. That's bull. The thing you have to realize as you get older, as you get more proficient in life, as you become a sage and a wisdom keeper, as both you wonderful women are, is that we have this gift that's been God-given, and each and every woman that we meet is a unique gift to the universe. It's up to us sage keepers to let these younger women see the beauty of themselves. And when I give speech, you see the women that are just not, they're not them. They just are hiding under a mantle. You girls know what I'm talking about. We have to be the keeper of the wisdom, the sages, to bring these women into their own. And I think that's our gift to the younger generation, is to make them understand. I'm not talking about the women's movement. I'm not talking about any of that. When we were younger, we were secretaries, nurses, teachers, and mothers. Boom, done. Forget about anything else. Look what you two have done. Look at what you two have done.
What you have done.
Well, you know, but come on. And
All of us each in our own way, really.
the beauty of what we have to do is to bring to the younger girls, the younger women, my daughters, my hopefully granddaughters, the uniqueness that they have. Because nobody showed me my uniqueness. My father was violent to me. My father was violent to my mother. So what happens? You crawl under a rock. Violence is a very, very heinous thing because it's called, to me, it's called injured innocence. We lose our innocence and we don't know how to get out from under the rock. Jeez. You girls have it so much more than we ever did, but we've got a lot to show you, believe me. A lot to show you. These two women, this poet, this brilliant Pink, my God, they're shining lights on you. Get under the light, girls, and start to live the right way, because you're wasting time. When I was at university at Cal Lutheran, I was an old broad in the class with an old backpack and bottle of water. I taught Italian. We went to Italy. I can't believe how much richness you girls have that you don't know and don't appreciate. Believe me, you're walking on shoulders, kids. Join the club, the Richness and Enriched Club, because you can start giving others younger than you lessons that it took us so long to learn. Each and every one of us struggled, busted our asses, worked hard for no recognition. Pink said it. She said, what did she have? Gloria said, what did she have? And look what they did with their lives in that era. So can you imagine how much more you can do? If in that era, these unbelievable women did what they did. I'm in awe. I'm close to tears meeting you two, because you have done things that I never imagined I could ever do. And you have shown other women just how amazing each individual, unique person can be. Awesome. In Japanese, we say, keiko desu ikimashou. That's it, I've got to go. But you women are leaders for a younger generation and a generation and a generation. And I'll tell you one thing. You're shining brighter and more luminous because of who you are today and who you were yesterday.
From your mouth to God's ear.
Yeah, but Carmel, I mean, for
Right.
sakes, the inspiration that you are every day that I get to talk to you, just even right now, and that the fact that we're documenting this and putting this out there, that people will forever be able to listen to your words. You are a rock star. You are full of life and vim and vigor and sassiness and inspiration. So thank you for sharing all that. And I know there's more because we have a few more questions down the line, but I want to pass the torch over to Mama G, Miss Gloria.
Yes, well, we were talking about the magazine. Well, the magazine cost me my marriage, which was interesting because I started it in 1977 and got divorced in 1980. Anyway, it didn't last very long. I was a baton carrier and the audience also applauding, right? And I took the children when they were babies, and we would sit and listen to Maurice's concerts, which were wonderful. I mean, he was fantastic. And it was a pleasure for me to acknowledge that. It wasn't anything that was done against my will or whatever. I really loved it. It was very fulfilling for me. I had the longest music appreciation course in history. So that was nice. And but unfortunately, when I found Helicon 9, I couldn't travel with him anymore because I had deadlines. I had to be at home working on the magazine, and little by little, the whole marriage fell apart. And then I met Bill, and he allowed me to be me and was the most supportive person ever in that regard. You know, whatever I wanted to do, yes, of course you can do it. We'll do it together. You can, lead the way. And I helped him with his poetry and became a wonderful poet. And he helped me with finding out who I was and what I was. And I was very lucky. So that was it. But we had wonderful times. I wonder if you, Carmel, if you were at the opening of the Kennedy Center.
No, I wasn't. We had a thing in China at the time.
Okay, because my husband conducted the opening, Leonard Bernstein's Mass.
Oh, Bernstein's Mass?
Yes. And he was a conductor, and it was, oh my God, it was fantastic. It was absolutely beautiful. So, yeah.
Great memories. You're lucky.
Mrs. Kennedy was in the booth next to me. Oh God.
Mrs. Kennedy was in the booth next to me. Not very many people can say that.
No.
And I got the extreme pleasure of spending many years with Bill too. What a glorious person he was, because he did put you on a pedestal. He allowed you to shine. And you guys did something really interesting in Kansas City with the Historical Museum. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we co-founded the Writer's Place. And it was a lovely little castle with a crenellated tower and the whole thing, a little building. And the people who owned it, it was a residence, went down with the Titanic. And after that, it became a brothel. And then it became a church. And then we saw it and we decided, let's buy it. And the foundation actually bought it. And it became the Writer's Place. And it lasted for 20 years and a little over 20 years. And then it got kind of awkward to keep it up, and that was the end of that. But the Writer's Place is still continuing, but elsewhere. But that was a wonderful time, really lovely, and we had all kinds of readings and a gallery, and yeah.
I saw pictures of that place. I wanted to buy it. It's like, let me get my checkbook out and buy it. It was so beautiful. What you offered to the community and expression through creative writing is really important. That's one of the great voices that, all of us get to do as a creative person. And you mentored a lot of people. You mentor me. You have been such a formidable force with everybody with regard to writing and having your voices heard. So amazing. I wish I could have been there at the opening of the Kennedy Center and sit next to the First Lady. What was that like, by the way?
To sit next to her? She smiled the entire time. There was that crazy man who was taking pictures. And she just, it was sad. It was actually sad. to see her so, she couldn't relax. She couldn't be herself. She had to be the first lady. That's a hard job. My God. You think carrying the baton or applauding your husband is hard? Oh, my Lord. Can you imagine?
It's kind of like what you and Carmel were explaining, though, of what you had to do to be that wife on the arm of, and that must have been really hard,
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And with good years, wonderful experiences. And we always had the soloists stay with us. And poor Lorca would have to give up her bed for the soloists. And then I thought I should have had every one of them sign the mattress.
That would have been a very valuable mattress. Oh my God, that's fantastic. So moving on to Jackie, it's interesting because your story is like, you start off as a young woman, you get married to a powerful man, and you tend to fall into that role of, the baton carrier or the applauder, arm candy person. It's not in your world because you were already pink for 1,000 years, and then you met Dove. So tell us about your experience now of how you've had to maintain and also share the space, which is a much more great approach.
You have to understand, my life was completely different. I married at 17. I had 3 children by the time I was 24, and I lost my first husband. He was 32, and I was 26. I had to begin all over again with just a high school education. And when I met my second husband, who was a widower, he had 2 children. I had 3. We got 5 kids together. So I was completely under a man all the time, by the way, literally and figuratively. And I went into my husband's business. It was true. And I went into his business. I became a sales rep of Extraordinaire. Being shy and humble, as you can see. And then he died. But then I was 72. I had to reinvent myself. And I met, like a year later, one of my very dear partners, went with him for 8 years, lived with him. And then he died after one of my musicals. And met Chaplain Dove, who is now my current partner for over 5 years now, but we've known each other 8. And here was a man who had his own life. He was a 57-year retired Air Force chaplain. He was president of the Los Angeles National Veteran Cemetery, founder of the VIP program, Veterans in Prison, Veteran Holiday Celebration of President. What I'm saying is he had a life. Well, by then, so did I. I was a producer of 15 musicals. I was a writer. I was an actress. I had my web series. I had a television show. We brought his life into mine and mine into his. So right then and there, we shared something very, very different. Each being his own person, but each in its own way, helping one another. So these last few years, my television show, he's my co-host. At 88, going into my 89th year, ladies, he is 12 years younger than I am. And everybody says, well, what's that like? And I go, excuse me, if he dies, he dies. That's just the way life is today. So thank God for the way, when we say that, well, what is a significant thing in your life that happened to you? I think the most significant is that I am reaching my 89th year with cell phones and computers that are making my life connected at this stage of my life with the world, with ladies like this, with Tess. I am what I like to say, I'm a creative, productive, energetic, and definitely entertaining woman because of what the cell phones, computers, and my life is. And I am proud, like Kermit the Frog says, hey, you know, it ain't easy being green. Well, I say to everybody, it is easy being pink. And I thank the world for that. I just do.
And we love that you're pink. It's so great. Talking about modern technology, you know, I congratulate all of us to be able to maneuver all these new technologies and be able to get online and communicate and stay connected. I want to talk to each of you, and I know each of your circumstances. You know, Carmel has her younger boyfriend. Pink has her guy, and Gloria, you know, I want to talk about the pandemic. How has this affected all of us? How has this affected us being sequestered? And I know, Gloria, you've been sequestered for quite a few months. How are you dealing with things?
Well, I'm being punished for a crime I didn't commit. I'm in solitary confinement. I've never been busier. Never been busier. I have so many things going on, and it's very exciting. And I'm fine, actually. Annika came to visit me, and we walked down and met my sister, who's also in solitary confinement. And that was I think the third time I'd been out of the complex since March. I don't go to the stores. I have Instacart, and I don't, hang around with anybody. But I do have Zoom, thank God for Zoom. I do my dance class, my Zumba class, everything on Zoom. Meetings, poetry groups.
I know it was quite challenging to coordinate all of your busy schedules around this. And I think we were going to do it Saturday, but we had to do it today because you were doing Zumba class and you have your class and your poetry readings and all this stuff. Everyone is so much more busier now these days. So it's really interesting for us introverts that get to stay home. I'm solitary confinement too. And I'm kind of loving it. And I had the pleasure of seeing Annika last Sunday after she went with you and Auntie Jane to the beach. So,
but you know, Tess, this pandemic has also done other things in my life anyway. I've never been busier like you, Gloria, and I'm sure Carmel. But what it's done also is let me get into my mortality. What I'm leaving my kids, which I really have been so busy, never even thought about. Well, I have 5 kids, 6 grandkids, 8 great-grandkids. What am I doing? And I really literally have been journaling some of these things. And then I went through the whole house. I made up 12 huge boxes, putting stuff in it that I don't want kids to fight over later, okay? And I sent it out to everybody. And I said, look, these are things I'd like the individuals to have and to remember who Pink Grandma, because my kids call me, the great-grandkids and the great-grandkids, Pink Grandma. And I said, I want you to take what you want, give away the rest that you might think someone might like. But literally thinking about what I've been up to all these years and what am I leaving? So I think what I'm leaving for another generation is the experiences that I've had, and we can talk about that when another question comes up about younger people, about my experiences and my surviving. Carmel in her way survived a lot, and so did you, Gloria. I survived the death of a husband, young husband, 32. I survived a second death, a third death, and of making and reinventing myself to survive and to be who I am today. So I say that I know the pandemic was put there for a reason. And it may have been a reason for a lot of people to think about who they are and what they did.
It definitely has created a very deep reflection in all of our lives. Just yesterday, I just got compelled on the anniversary of my mom, as I spoke earlier, and I went into my garage and went into these IKEA cabinets and I started pulling out old cassettes of songs that I wrote back in the 80s and a children's book that I thought I had lost that I wrote that hasn't been published yet. And I have a big blue bin behind me that's filled with just a small smattering of my intellectual properties. And I think it's really important that you said that because it makes me think like, oh yeah, that's why I did that. It's time that we really just slow down, really appreciate one another. Take a breath, exhale, which is a very big thing for all of us, because a lot of times we're all so uptight that we forget to breathe. So the exhale is a really important thing to remember during this time, and to really just know the importance of who we are and to love. There's so much fear and scarcity and weirdness on the planet that I love that each of you, and I'm going to get to you, Carmel, because you're always positive, but I can firmly say that each one of you are so positive in this situation. So Carmel, tell about your experience. I know you're planting gardens and teaching swim classes and all that stuff, but I want to hear more.
Well, first of all, we didn't isolate, because I don't believe this pandemic is what they said it is. They're being infused with fear all over the world. So we didn't isolate. I go, I see, I do, I shop, I swim, I have people coming in to swim, I have friends coming in to visit, and I make big meals for them. We're here in Ojai, which is a quiet community, as you may know. And Jerry and I both said at the beginning of this, we're not going to buy into this. You can have your opinions about me after this closes, and that's fine. But I decided that I wasn't going to be isolated or fearful. Just before World War II broke, you may remember, Hitler did a lot of things like isolating people, taking guns. And I felt as though it was almost a repetition of history if I were to buy into this. So Jerry and I didn't buy into this. We have our home open, people can come in and out. I go shopping, I go here, I go there, I go to my doctor's. So it didn't affect me the way it affected a lot of people. What I was sad about was the people that were losing businesses. One of my daughters has a spa. She had to close it. She had to close her spa after she put in a new ceiling, and they said she'd open, and then 2 days later somebody said close it. So I'm sad over the people that are brutally affected by this. Brutally. I'm sad because I haven't lost anything. I've invested well. I've sold my other house. And I didn't feel as though I should be alone, because one of the big problems of this is the loss of human touch, the loss of human connection, the loss of human community. I think that was one of the gravest things that's happened, is the loss of community. Hopefully it'll come back. Hopefully it'll come back big time. But my feeling is that my life is my own. When I was going through cancer and people were saying, oh, you're going to be a survivor, I said, no, I'm going to be a conqueror. I'm not going to survive cancer. I'm going to conquer it. When I speak to women's groups, I say, once you conquer, you're on top of the log in the sea. Once you survive, when you're surviving, you're just holding on to the log. But when you conquer, you're on top of the log and you're pedaling. I guess maybe I'm a little bit of a rebel in this COVID thing, because I really and truly feel as though it was put on us for whatever reason it was that it was put on us. Someday we'll find out, maybe not. Tess, you said you were going to ask about the greatest inventions.
I want to put a pin on that. Hold on just for a second, because that is a great question. I love your answer because you told me beforehand. I do want to say that, I personally and a lot of other people, and I totally respect your opinion, and I have multiple theories about what's going on. I just want to honor the people that have passed due to
positive, yeah, but are they all COVID, or has somebody died from diabetes, cancer, or something, and they put on?
My oldest friend from high school died of COVID at the very beginning.
But did she die of COVID or what else?
Yes, absolutely. No question. No question. She was in an incubator for 2 weeks, and whatever they do to you. Terrible.
So there's a lot of, we could probably do 5 more shows on this alone, because there are so many realities and theories that we don't know behind the scenes. And there's also the reality that there is something out there, and there's flus, and there's cancers, and there's all kinds of things that do kill us. And so I just want to send out, the sympathy to those who have lost people, whether it's an undiagnosed COVID or if it's a fake COVID hospital tag because they want to make more money, or if it's true, like Gloria's friend who did die of a virus that they have touted to be COVID. It's a very touchy subject, but I love the fact that each of you have been raw and authentic about what your approach is, and that there's been a positive outcome of how you've been living your lives. I mean, living up in Ojai, I've been to your home, I've been to Ojai. It's such a peaceful community, and I love the fact that you get to get out and get a life, to quote dear Jackie. Since Carmel mentioned since Carmel mentioned their favorite invention, we'll move over to that next because I love your answer. What is your favorite invention, Carmel?
Talking to me?
Yeah, what's your favorite invention?
I think one of the best inventions that ever happened was the thermos. How does it know? How does it know to keep cold or hot? How does it know? So that's my favorite invention, the thermos.
Okay.
You told me that before the show, and I didn't share it with the other gals. I was so curious about when was it created. So it was invented in 1892 by Sir James Dewar and the scientists for Oxford University. And the vacuum flask was not manufactured for commercial use until 1904. Just little tidbits of that, because I thought that was such a clever invention, because it could have been the car, the color TV, the this, that, and the other. I would have never thought of the thermos. That's such a clever answer. So Gloria or Pink, what do you say?
Computer.
Gloria, your hand's up.
Computer. Absolutely.
Computer.
When I started Helicon 9, we had to paste little pieces of paper with typing on them, one after the other for every page. My God, it was a nightmare. It took days and days and days just to get the book out. And now you just type it in, design it, and format it and send it off, and it comes back.
And we get to be empowered to be able to do a lot more graphics instead of sending it out to a graphics team or this team or that team. And I remember the whiteout days and the carbon paper and the typewriter and all that stuff. Yeah.
And we're all here today.
Right.
Perfect.
Right.
Pink, what's your favorite invention?
Well, you had said choose from the hairdryer, lie detector, which I don't know that, and a can opener. And I chose a can opener because truthfully, everybody, cooking was never, ever my forte. But I do warming, real warming, really well.
You open the can, you pour it
Open the can. Well, it was like everybody remembers Toady Fields, a famous comedian. And Toady Fields was asked her why and how. I mean, you lived with your husband Wolf for 35 wonderful years. Well, why was that? And Toady said, look around you. I gave Wolf a choice when we got married. Choose the room that you want me to be best in. And you know what? He chose the bedroom. And we've had the best life we have ever, ever had. So cooking ain't my thing. A warming, yeah.
So all in all, Carmel's a cook. I love to cook. We can bring Carmel's thermos.
Right.
And we'll do the can opener. And then we'll come over to Gloria's and create a book on the computer. And we'll just have a
Yeah, there you go.
I thought for sure, Pink, you would have said the hairdryer because your hair is always so pink and perfect.
You know what? But the hairdryer is like someone else does it. I don't, I mean, now I do. But before this pandemic, I mean, I never touched my hair. Now I'm plain. So how it comes out, it comes out. Someone once said, what is your hairstyle called? I said, it's called like a famous actress getting out of bed in the morning, having a great night, looking forward to a great day, tussle. So
I love that. I love that. So what next? I could be on this show all day with you all, but I want to find out what would be something that you would be able to share with us, like the words of wisdom, because I'm so excited to be able, I love mentoring. I love having a lot of young women in my life. I've been doing this for 20 years where, have mentees and they mentor me as well. But I want to find out from the sage women on the call today, what would be the best words of advice that you would say to yourself, 20, 46 years ago, or who wants to go?
I would say believe in yourself. Trust yourself. Because in the final analysis, you're the one who's going to have to make decisions and carry them out. And you have to have a certain amount of just love of yourself too. It's difficult, but you have to take the hold of the reins and go forth.
That's a lot packed into that, because love yourself is really important. I think a lot of times us women forget to check in on our gut. Our gut intuition is trust the gut, follow the heart, speak your mind kind of thing. Thank you for that, Gloria. That's really amazing. I love that. How about you, Pink or Carmel?
Go Pink.
I tell my audience all the time when I give my seminars on choices and things and get up, get out, get a life. I tell people that, and this is the truth, I look in the mirror every day when I get up and I go, you know what, Pink? You're going to have a good day because you like who you are. So I say the number one thing, and I know these ladies do, they like who they are. They're confident and passionate about knowing what they want to do, where they want to go, who they want to see, and what they want to say. And that's at any age in their lives and in mine. Above all, no matter what, I say to people that if you do not have a positive attitude with lots of gratitude, you're not going to make it. And the easiest thing is when I tell some of these younger people, the best way to predict the future is to create it yourself. Because you can do it. All you need is to know who you are. And the world can say, well, I know Pink Lady, she's this, she's that. I don't care. I know who I am. I know what I went through to get here. I know what I can give to others to show them that this, no matter what age, going into my 89th year, this is the best time of my life. It's not a time to give up. It's a time to create more, to do more. God giving me the strength to do this.
I love it. Oh my God, I want to hang out with you guys every day. I think we should just start a new show. Oh my God. Say,
There's an expression, I don't know whether it's Greek or Latin, but it says, no the sau ton. Know yourself. Because once you know yourself, and you might have to dig through a lot of layers of onion. Once you know yourself and you know who the unique you is, everything else is easy peasy. Easy peasy. Because once you know yourself, you love yourself. You see the person inside of you that God has created.
You're proud of yourself, right?
Pretty great broad you got there. Wow. And wow upside down is mom.
that's
God bless you guys, really, I tell you.
Wonderful, wonderful, joyous journey.
Yes, thank you both. Three of you.
Gloria, Pink, awesome.
Well, I tell everybody, and Tess knows, we all have a story to tell. Carmel has one, Gloria has one, Tess has one. It's not how we tell that story. It's how we live that story every day, every year.
It's not so much what you say, not so much what you do, but how you made me feel.
That's it. That's it.
You all made me feel terrific.
Thank you.
I'm ready to go out and conquer the world.
You
Whereas
can.
kick ass.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Tess.
Question, because I'm going to be quoting somebody at the end, because I always do a quote in a charity spotlight, and it just popped into my mind. I'd love to know, because you guys sounded like you just said really famous quotes. What is your favorite quote that you, as your go-to, that helps you through?
Mine, I think is, it's not how many breaths you take in life that count. It's what you do with the breaths you take. That makes the difference.
And what takes your breath away?
Yep.
Gloria, what's your favorite quote?
Well, I have a quote that influenced my entire life, and that was from a book by Stephen Spender called World Within World, and it was a memoir, and it was written right after the war, World War II. And he said, almost as terrible as the Nazis was the lack of horror in the face of horror. And that really propelled me to lead an active life, and one not to be silent and quiet and watch things happen, but to participate. That's my quote.
We need to write all these down and pass them around. They're so amazing. Carmel, what is your favorite quote?
From The Little Prince by Saint-Exupéry, it is only with the heart that one can see clearly what is essential. It is invisible to the eye.
Wow. That was a beautiful book.
Great.
Wow.
All good. All good.
All good. Well, I'm going to quote one of my favorite actresses. I wish she was alive, because she would be bowing at all of your feet, Audrey Hepburn.
Okay.
And the quote is, remember, I don't have it memorized like you ladies do. Remember, if you ever need a hand, you have them at the end of both of your arms. When you become old, you will discover that you have two hands, one to help yourself and the second to help others. The beauty of a woman is not the clothes she wears. The beauty of a woman is seen in her eyes, because that is the door open to her heart, the source of her love. The beauty of a woman doesn't lie in her makeup, but the true beauty in a woman is reflected in her soul. It is the tenderness that gives love, the passion that it expresses. The beauty of a woman grows over the years. And you all have been the exemplary example of that quote. You are all so beautiful to me. You are sassy, ageless gals extraordinaire. And on the charity spotlight, I'm not going to pick any particular charity. I really want to do a shout out for those that are taking care of Mama Sue and all the other elderly people that are in housing, assisted living, and nursing homes and hospitals, because there's a lot of fear that's going on, and we've all talked about the different opinions of what's going on in the world, and I just pray that we all just get through this and get back to a new normal of love and life and celebration. And I can't wait to hug everyone again. I'm really missing that hug. It was hard to Monica the other day not be able to hug her.
Please, everyone.
Sorry, go ahead.
I say, if you take nothing away from today, take away, and I know Tess understands this, it ain't over till you or I say it's over.
And I say it's never over, because we're going to have more of these conversations, because I know this is going to be really resonating with a lot of people. Thank you for watching GWEN Talks. I appreciate you coming, and I have to keep this going. Since we're in lockdown a little longer than I expected, we're going to do more episodes coming up, because I enjoy connecting with people like my beautiful guest today. I'm so sorry that Mama B, Bonnie Bishop, and Mama Sue Smart were not able to join us today, but I'm sending love to you all. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Lovely meeting you all.
Thank you. God bless.
But thank you, you guys were amazing.
I made up my mind 60-something years ago, 65. If you're going to live it and do it, just go all the way.
You know that expression, my mother would turn over in her grave if she ever knew I used a can opener? It had to come fresh. Crush the tomatoes with the fingers. No can openers anywhere. I had a cooking show called Bella Cucina when my late husband was alive, and the guy that was the producer went all out. I had a big 6-burner stove in Westlake on the island. The minute he died, who heard from the producer again? Not I, said the queen. So I have a DVD, and every once in a while I pet it.
I'm lucky. That's why I married a man 12 years younger. He does the cooking, he drives. I mean, it's like having a caregiver at going into my 89th year with benefits.
I'm sorry, I'm leaving some of this in the show. This is too much.
Yeah. People, I got to tell people ask Dove all the time. They'll say, hey, Dove, you wear pink shirts. We go out, he'll wear pink. And you wear pink shirts. Why? And he says, because if I get lost, they're going to know where to bring me back.
And an interesting thing is, if you get to Ojai, these people left Tibet, escaped with the Kalashnikov rifles shooting them. Went over, I can't say this because I might cry, I get verklempt. And they went over the Himalaya mountains. The Himalayas, this is not Agura. This is the Himalaya mountains in light clothing with a guide that they lost 3 times. And then they finally found a way to get to the next country. And then they took a bus, and the bus drove them to India. Can you imagine the want of freedom, so desperate? So when I'm teaching them swimming, I say to them, you don't have to swim anymore. You've done 5. No, we want to do more. The constant need to be better after the Himalayas blows me away. How can I complain about my nail polish color? Hello?
No way can you complain at all.
Himalaya.
Yeah.
Escape from Tibet. Himalaya. Mountains. Snow. One of them got snow blindness. The woman that I'm teaching swimming to. Snow blindness.
But Carmel, you have to remember something. All of us here know this. When you want something bad enough.
Yeah.
You don't think about what you're doing to get there.
That's right.
You're just going to crawl, run, walk, swim, ride, whatever. But you're going to get there. All you need is the will to do it. So I say that to everybody. You can succeed. You just need to know that you want to succeed. There it is.
Sei mir gesund mit Mazel mit Glück, a big sind geheden. Shana Punham.
But luck has a lot to do with it too.
Oh.
Excuse me.
You say that, and I remember something so profound. I so wanted to be in theater. I did summer stock when I was in college, and I so wanted to be an actress, and I so wanted to be voiceovers. And no matter what I did, it failed. Nothing. In Japanese, we say nabahachi. It didn't happen. And I often wonder to myself why. And Jerry said to me the other day, my partner, we're living in sin.
There's no sin.
He said, a lot has to do with luck, and a lot has to do with the tools that you had as you were younger, which was all violence. And so now I can, at 84, I can say, things worked out the way they were supposed to.
Right.
I think things worked out the way they were supposed to for you. Gloria, things worked out the way they were supposed to. Tess, things worked out the way they were supposed to.
And what I say, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What I say is also, and this especially, shall we say, for women of an age and men of an age, same thing. You must know when to hold them
and when to fold them.
I see so many, I go to a lot of theatrical things, and you see these actors of an age, and the daughter or the son brings them out. They don't even know where they are. And to me, don't do that. I want people to remember, I have a thing, I wrote it to my kids. I said, do not let anyone see me when you know I wouldn't want them to see who I am.
Mm-hmm. È vero. It's so true. It's so true.
Well, I just want to say this to everybody here, Annika and Lorca as well. Thank you, Tess, because today I'm with people who I'm so proud to be with. And I thank you for that, because that's all the things that I say to people, living the best time of my life now with people like this. God bless everyone. Stay safe, and thank you so much.
I hope we meet again.
We're going to do this again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Why don't you all come up to Ojai? I'll cook.
this one at the end.
And now, a Mind Over Matter Minute.